Oh, hey, thanks for joining me today, May 3rd, 2023. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. Remember, we're streaming live every day on YouTube's and rumble.com/coffeenuance/live. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show where we tackle the biggest issues of our day, or at least the ones that people keep talking about until they become totally meaningless. I'm Tom Coffey. Today, we're going to talk about the overuse of certain phrases that have lost all their power. Let's start with existential threat. You hear this one all the time. Climate change is an existential threat. Nuclear war is an existential threat. The Kardashians are an existential threat to our collective IQ. Okay, maybe not the last one, but you get the point. Problem is, when you use a phrase like existential threat to describe everything from an unfunny TikTok to the end of the world, it loses all its meaning. It's like calling everything awesome. Eventually, nothing is. Next up, problematic. Now, I know some of you are out there and you're going to say, but Tom, isn't problematic a useful term for describing something that's, problematic? And my answer to that is yes. But no. When you use problematic to describe everything from a mildly offensive joke to a drone bombing civilians, you're diluting the meaning of the word. Let's be honest. If you have to use a vague term like problematic to describe something, maybe you don't have a strong enough argument to begin with. And finally, we got racist, right? Now, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. It does. It's a real problem, but when you use racist to describe everything from a microaggression to the difference of opinion, you're cheapening the power of the word. It's like crying wolf. Eventually, people are going to stop listening. So what's the solution? Well, for starters, we can try to use phrases more judiciously. Instead of throwing around terms like existential threat and problematic all willy-nilly, let's reserve them for situations that truly merit them. And for racist, let's not use that word unless we're absolutely certain that's what we're dealing with. Otherwise, we're just creating more noise in an already noisy world. And I suggest we start dismissing that noise. Remember, words have power, so let's use them wisely, or, just say awesome a little less. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Talking about existential threats. We got them everywhere. And the overuse of words and phrases has really been something recently. We just hear the same thing over and over and over again, and it loses all its meaning. I mean, just today, they're looking at some of the leaks from Tucker Carlson, right? And they're calling, some things racist. It's racist. And the big one that they're making a huge deal about, and this kind of shows you what the media, like what their line of attack is going to be, is apparently he said something along the lines of, I was watching, some guys beat somebody up and, the way they were doing it. And he said, white men don't fight like that. Okay. Somehow that's upholding white supremacy by noting that typically when you see white men, they don't do it in that way. What? Somehow that's racist? I don't know. It's as if racist has now become, a stand-in for anything where race is mentioned. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything anymore. But existential threat, boy, that term is used daily. And most of the time it isn't. But But I guess it's a good phrase, and I guess it gets clicks, and I guess it makes you sound important. You know, one of the things that you can do to recognize when someone's trying to sound important is when they use words with lots of syllables. This is something that I've noticed. Ask a teen girl what she wants to, or a middle school girl what she wants to be when she grows up, and I guarantee you it has at least 3 syllables. You can try this out for yourself. Veterinarian, you know, it will always have a lot of syllables. That's one thing I've noticed. We like lots of syllables, and we like the existential threat. I bet if somebody says this, and you can try this out and let me know if this works. When they say this, ask them what existential means. I'm going to guess 50% of the time they can't even give you a definition. But anyway, that's it. We got a great show for you today. Number of stories to get to, some updates from stories that I've talked about in the past. And as a special treat, following this show, I have a guest video that I'm going to post that it will be live on this channel on YouTube at the top of the hour from my friend Fred about central bank digital currencies. And he's going to explain it in a very nice, concise 10-minute video. He does a really good job of explaining that. So I think sticking around for that after the video, after the show is over, you can go to my YouTube channel, and that video will be going live at 1 o'clock. And I really hope 1 o'clock my time. You can do the math and figure out what it is for you. But the top of the hour, an hour from now, it's going to be going live. And I really hope you can check that out with me when it goes live. Anyway, let's get to the first story. And this one is a doozy. Oh, loneliness. Loneliness. U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy has warned of the dangers of loneliness and urged the issue to be treated with the same urgency as obesity, drug abuse, and other serious conditions. In an advisory, Murthy warned that loneliness is linked to heart attacks, depression, diabetes, crime, and premature death, and it's affecting about half the U.S. population. The issue's worsened since the 70s, with social interaction declining and time spent alone increasing, in part due to changes in social norms, technology, and built environments. Solutions suggested include making social connection a priority at work and community programs that bring people together. Now, I'm all about bringing people together. Speaking of bringing us together, we do have a little community over there on Discord, and I just found out that the Discord invite expires. Every 7 days it expires. So in the description of the video, I've put in a new link to go over to the Discord. It's a place that you can chat with other people about the show and, talk about topics and different things that come up on the show. You can interact with other people over there. That is a way to be a tad less lonely. But I have definitely noticed this, especially post-pandemic. We don't seem to be as social as we were prior. You know, we all kind of got used to staying in, being alone, and not going out as much. And I've noticed that here in Portland, that there are not as many people out at events. There aren't as many people just being out and about around the town. And this really is a crisis, public health crisis. what if more people die because they were lonely? Because people die because they're lonely. It really affects so many aspects of our health than from the coronavirus. I mean, there's a good possibility that will be, one of the unintended consequences of all the lockdowns. So many people dying for things related to loneliness. So I encourage you to get out there, become part of groups, see friends in person, not just on your phone. That's one thing that you can do. But making social connections is really important. And another thing is, at work, because so many people have moved to remote work, there's not as many people in the office as there once were. You just don't have those social interactions that you used to have. And it's not good. It's not good for our health. I think it is very good that he's bringing this up, because it is a big health emergency, if you will. If being lonely is worse than smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, we should probably treat it as such. And if you're one of those people that just ignores your friends, ghosts your friends, you're part of the problem too. If they're reaching out to you, try to make time for your friends. You don't know what a positive impact you can have on other people by being there for them. So that's that. Let's get to some international news. The Brazilian government and judiciary have criticized big tech companies, including Google. Uh-oh. If I say criticizing Google, they may hide this video more than they normally do. I don't know. Could they hide it more than they do? I'm not sure if that's even possible. But they've criticized big tech companies for campaigning against a bill aimed at combating fake news. That's right. Big tech is against combating fake news. The proposed law, also known as the Fake News Law, would require internet companies, search engines, and social media services to identify and report illegal content or face hefty fines. Tech firms have campaigned against the bill, with Google adding a link to its Brazilian search engine to blogs opposing the law. The Brazilian Justice Minister ordered Google to change the link, calling it disguised and misleading advertising. The bill's critics say it requires more debate and could lead to censorship. The fate of the bill remains uncertain due to opposition from conservative and evangelical lawmakers. The Supreme Court of Brazil has asked Google, Meta, and Spotify's Brazilian CEOs to testify within 5 days about their conduct regarding the bill. The Brazilian proposal is shaping up to be one of the world's strongest legislations on social media, comparable to the European Union's Digital Services Act. So, the idea of this bill is that social media companies, search engines, are going to be responsible if they don't take care of fake news. And those companies don't want to do that. And it's understandable, right? Because a lot of times social media is, they push fake news. Oh yeah, they absolutely do. And a lot of times they're pushing fake news at the behest of the government. Yeah, absolutely. So, it's very interesting to see what the social media companies, the search engines, say they don't want to participate in. You know, they're making a big deal about fact checkers. We're going to fact check things, and we're going to do that. And then when the government comes along and says, well, if you don't do this, there's going to be consequences, they said, oh, no. We don't want any consequences. We're a big tech company. We don't want consequences for our behavior. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there down in Brazil. I know they'd never attempt anything like that here in the U.S. That would be an absolute joke. If social media companies had to police fake news, I think they'd probably have to stop half their traffic. Would have to be removed. So, yeah. It is what it is. We'll see. Anyway, let's get to something else about fake news. A bill has been introduced in the U.S. that would require political groups and campaigns to disclose the use of content created by artificial intelligence, AI, in political ads. Representative Yvette Clarke, who introduced the legislation, said that the 2024 U.S. election will be the first time that AI-generated content will be used in political ads by campaigns, parties, super PACs. The bill would update federal campaign finance laws to include requirements for the disclosures. The move comes as Washington lawmakers seek to keep up with the impact of chatbots and AI on issues including misinformation and the U.S. workforce. So this picture right here, there were a lot of pictures that people were putting up on Twitter when Trump was arrested last month. These are all AI generated, but the left got a real kick out of these fake AI generated pictures. And then the RNC last week put out an AI generated campaign ad about picture what would happen if Joe Biden is elected again. And it was dark and it had tanks rolling through the streets and things like that. And then they got really freaked out. They really didn't like that. That's why they came up with this bill. We can't have AI in political ads unless it's disclosed, some kind of disclosure. I would go a bit further with that. I think that anyone that is getting paid by a political party or a group connected to a political party on social media should have to be identified. There are so many people on Twitter, on TikTok, that are taking checks from, I'll say both the DNC and the RNC, although the ones that I've seen are mainly from the DNC. And they're straight up pushing, a point of view, propaganda, whatever you want to call it, every single day. They get a lot of engagement, yet there's no description at all that they're being paid for that. And I think that is much more dangerous than some dystopian AI ad that, if you look at it clearly, it's not real. So it's interesting what the focus is on, though. The focus is on, the Republicans made a scary AI ad. Well, we got to make sure that we let everyone know that that's AI. Oh, and we were creating all the AI stuff? Well, don't worry about that. That was just for fun. That's kind of how that works, I guess. But what is good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Taking it back to last week. But I do think, though, if you're being paid to make TikToks, you should have to have that disclaimer in the description of your video. Yeah, you should definitely have to do that, especially around politics. If you're being paid to post stuff, you need to say that you're being paid. Now, influencers have to post, like on Instagram, they have to do a hashtag ad or something if they're being paid for a product, but not if they're being paid for a point of view. Interesting. Interesting. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm not sure. I think generally speaking, I would always err on the side of having less rules and less laws. But I don't know about this one. What do you think? What do you think? And have you seen some of this crazy AI? Do you think it could make a difference in the presidential race? I think it could. I think could be very influential. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. And now I'm going to give you an update. Okay, so last week, maybe the week before, I was talking about this conflict in Sudan. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And at the time, I didn't know a whole lot about Sudan. I still don't. So I really didn't have a whole lot of information to give you about what is this conflict about, you know? But so far, it's killed hundreds of people. It's displaced hundreds of thousands of people, and then nearly 100,000 people have left the country. Yeah, that's a big deal. Well, tension has been building up where this came from between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces group, so the RSF, for months. Now, where this came from is both of those groups together, they toppled the last civilian government in October 2021. Okay, so there was a coup in 2021. The military, or the army, and this Rapid Support Force, which is a different part of the military, they worked together to overthrow the civilian government. And since then, I guess they didn't have a good plan as to who was actually going to be in charge. So the violence really kicked up when international groups came in and wanted these military groups to transition back to civilian leadership. Well, that was not met with very kindly. And so these two different military groups are fighting each other, struggling to see who will be in charge, who will really take over the country. So this current fighting, it's centered around one of Africa's largest urban areas, Khartoum. Khartoum used to be, a month ago, over 5 million people. So this is a large city, and this is where a lot of the fighting is taking place. But a lot of this competition is happening based on who is going to have influence in Sudan and in the region. And you probably won't be able to guess who the influence is fighting, which influencers are fighting to have some control over Sudan. I'll give you guesses on the two superpowers that are fighting for influence over this. That's right, it's Russia and the U.S. So, surprise, surprise. So that is a little bit more information on what is happening in Sudan. That's a little. So now you know a little bit more. Still almost nothing, right? I still know almost nothing about the country, but that's a little bit more of an explainer. So I understand it a bit more than I did when I read the first story about it. And just as a reminder, can you remember where Sudan is in Africa? I gave you a hint last time, and a way to remember where Sudan is, but to reinforce that, when you think of Africa, right, one of the most important places in Africa historically was Egypt, which is in the far northeast, right, the upper right corner of Egypt. And Sudan, Sud, right, means south, and Sudan is just south of Egypt. So that is a reminder as to where Sudan is. Now, obviously, Sudan is not named after it's not named after South. I just made that up, okay? But it's sometimes it's good to have a way to remember things. And so now you have a way to remember where Sudan is in Africa. I think that this story is going to become bigger and bigger over time. And so at least now you know where this is happening. So that's that. Oh, war. Terrible. Terrible. Well, let's get to some good news. A study conducted by Northwest University, MIT, and the University of Glasgow found that parrots, those birds, can enjoy video calls with each other just like humans. The study taught the parrots to initiate calls with other parrots by ringing a bell and touching a picture of another parrot on a tablet screen. The parrots made 147 video calls with each other over 2 months, with many caregivers reporting positive experiences. The researchers cautioned, don't give your parrot unrestricted access, because that can lead to fear, violence, property damage, bullying other parrots, and we don't want that. But this is kind of a kick. Now, obviously, we can't read the minds of parrots. We don't know what they're thinking, but what they found in doing this was that parrots seem to really like and interact with the video camera, the video screen, with the other parrots, and it kind of looked like they were having a conversation and they understood each other. Now, do we know that they understood each other? Nobody, we don't speak parrot, and there's no evidence that there's a parrot language. But this is kind of fun. This is kind of fun, and this, I thought, was a good news story. If you know some lunatic that owns a parrot, because I can't imagine having a parrot. That would drive me crazy. But if you know somebody that does that kind of thing, tell them about this story, because their parrot may really like talking to other parrots. What a crazy idea. And that someone came up with, and it looks like it has some good results. So good on that. That's the good news for today. As a reminder, stick around in the after show. I will be going through all of your comments. And as a reminder, at the top of the hour on my YouTube channel, I'm going to premiere a video, a guest video, about central bank digital currencies. So it's a short video. I encourage you to check that out as soon as possible. If you can't check it out at the top of the hour, please come back and check it out later today. We want to get a number of views. Leave a comment, hit the like button. Let's see if we can get some traction on this video that Fred made. That would be really good. Anyway, stick around the after show. I will see you then, and if not, I will see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Peace. All right. Thank you for sticking around for the after show. Yeah, and again, over there on Rumble, get your words nice and big. YouTube, nice and small. I don't know how to encourage people to use Rumble more, but I'm trying. Apothecary John says, "What's up?" I appreciate Apothecary John. He's running the Discord, and like I said in the video, I guess the invite expires after a week. And so if you tried to get onto Discord and you clicked that link and it said it was expired, well, I've got that fixed today. And I'll try to figure out a solution that we can have some kind of permanent link to sign up for the Discord. But if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on there. Here we are. I remember where Sudan is, and it's exactly. Well, I hope that my little way to remember Sudan, it works for me. Okay, I don't know if it works for anyone else. Does it work for you? Let me know, because I try to come up with ways to remember things and lots of different tricks, and that's what I came up with. Sudan. It's just Sudan south of Egypt. So we'll see. Let's see what's going on the YouTubes. All the good emojis to kick things off. Here we go. Everybody's saying hi. That's awesome. Hey, Tom. I guess I'll wave back. There's a lot of noise out there. Indeed, there is a lot of noise. I do think, though, next time you catch someone saying existential threat, just ask them what existential means. Just ask them what that means. Everyone is Awesome by Tegan and Sarah from the Lego Movie. I don't know that. I didn't see the Lego Movie because I'm an adult. I'm just kidding. But Tegan and Sarah, I'm sure it was a fun, happy song, given that they did it. Tucker's Controlled Leaks. Yes. It's interesting that the media is really going through all of these leaks of Tucker Carlson. That's news. But somebody else's leaks, certain laptop of a son of a president, right? Those leaks are dangerous information, and we can't talk about that. But Tucker, he's fair game. We can do that. My dad told me empty wagons make the most noise. Perhaps. I don't know that expression, but I'm sure it means something cool. Is it racist to say all Africans and African Americans view snakes as existential threats? Just wanted to use both words in one sentence. Well, first of all, hashtag not all. There's nothing that's not all, right? Anytime you talk about a group, and I think even if you just say Africans, whatever, anytime you say that, I think the implication is you don't mean all, okay? But I think that people that interrupt a conversation when you say, tall people play basketball, or saying, well, not all tall people play basketball. I'm like, oh yeah, I know not all, but I think the not all thing is somewhat cringe. And again, to me, racism has really changed its definition, and they've been trying to change the definition for a while now. I guess I have an old school definition, which is you're judging someone based solely upon their race. That's what racism means to me. So I don't think that and typically it's a negative thing. But yeah, today it's like everything is racist. Anything that has to do with race is racist, apparently, to a lot of people. We have a great show for you today. Duh, Tom, you have a great show for us every day. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the people that agreed with it. Made it. Lunch almost over, but we'll be listening while working. Well, hey, what's up, Erie Fairy? Glad you could join us. Let's see. Being by yourself is different than being lonely. Loneliness has regret. I don't know if it has regret necessarily. But yeah, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. For sure. It's like there's a different, there's a difference between being bored and being boring. Right? They're totally different. But yeah, being lonely is wanting. I guess my initial thought on that would be is lonely is you're alone and you don't want to be alone at that time. And then just being by yourself is being by yourself. I do a lot of things by myself and I'm not lonely when I do them. But there are times that I don't want to do things by myself. And I guess at that point, we'd call it being lonely. So, says Miranda says she's lonely, especially in the middle of the night when insomnia keeps her awake. I've been waking up in the middle of the night because I have raccoons around my house, and my dog wakes me up when they're doing things. So I get it. We don't need no stinking consequences. I'm sure that is a line from something, but I don't recall what that line is from. Let's see. Show us your donors. Yeah, I think that we should know about donors. I definitely think, though, if you are an influencer, like, I think that you would want to know, if I were getting paid by a political candidate to say nice things about them, I should probably disclose that. Now, clearly, I'm not being paid by any political candidate because I'm not saying very many nice things about any political candidates. But yeah, I would do that. I would disclose that. But I guess that's the difference between me and Brooklyn Dad on Twitter, right? He's clearly getting tens of thousands of dollars to do all these terrible tweets. And there's nothing in the description of his Twitter bio that would suggest that. So, yeah. Badges, we don't need no stinking badges, Blazing Saddles. Aha. Okay, that's what it's from. Let's see. Okay, so the reference is to Blazing Saddles and to UHF, which was the fantastic Weird Al film. Weird Al. That was a great comedy film. Sudan, isn't that south of somewhere? Exactly. Is that near Chicago? No, not near Chicago. Imagine a parrot saying Dave isn't here to answer a video call. That is a reference so old, that is like from vinyl record. So that's pre-cassette tape, pre-CD, pre-streaming. That's a nice old reference. See, I bet parrots can get out of hand. I can picture a parrot bullying someone. Perhaps, yeah. So you don't want to let your parrot just have access to FaceTime or to Zoom, because they might get roll. When I let my cockatoo out of the cage, it chases all the dogs. I can't imagine having a bird. My dog is so chill that yeah, I can't imagine a bird. I just can't imagine a bird. Let me see something here. I was going to show you a picture of my dog. I had it loaded up yesterday, and then now I've lost it. I need a better to-do list system so I can follow through on what I say I'm going to do. My neighbor, this is according to Natasha, my neighbor has a huge walk-in bird cage out back, 30-plus parakeets. Oh, I can't imagine that. That would drive me absolutely nuts. I had one neighbor that had a yippy dog, and that was bad enough. But 30 parakeets, my God. Word association, that's what it's called. There we go. Not all who interrupt to say not all are cringeworthy, only some. That's right, not all people that say not all are bad. Not all that say not all. So that that follows the pattern. Let's see. OX_00. I don't have a parrot, but remote pet socializing would be cool to get the benefit of one not being bored while you were at work or go out with having to care for more pets. You know, that is something that I saw. There's something, I'm trying to remember, I was reading about it last month, that people that had to work remotely, sometimes people will stream themselves working remotely. I forgot what this is called. And so you could put on somebody else and have a live feed of someone working remotely, and you could have a couple of them, and you know, they're moving around, they're doing their work, they're getting up, getting coffee, getting back, and doing their work. But that makes you feel like you're around people. And that might be a fun idea for a, you know, for a live stream. Having a live stream on your pet, you could just watch your pet. Like, I was at my niece's this weekend, and she had music playing, and she had the TV that played the fireplace, you know? And it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice. It was just a video feed of a fire. I know traditionally we see that around the holiday season, but this was just this last weekend, and it was kind of nice. It had a little atmosphere. So perhaps there's something there. I had a grand idea one time back when I had chickens, and I wanted to have like a live feed of the chickens. But my huge idea was to construct a chicken house in the shape of the Guggenheim, right? If you've ever seen the Guggenheim in New York. And I would call it the Guggenhen, and then have a live feed with the chickens there. And a little pun joke. Again, it's one of those ideas that required more work for me to do that I didn't want to do. But yeah, having live feeds on with people working or pets might be a good thing for other people. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. As a reminder, at the top of the hour, Fred, who's done a guest video for my channel years ago, really cool guy, but he did a little video. It's only 10 minutes long on central bank digital currencies. It's going to be live on YouTube at the top of the hour, and I'll have it posted on Rumble as soon as I can. I'm still trying to figure out how to upload videos at a certain time on Rumble. The interfaces are different, but it'll be live on Rumble as well today. And so go check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. You can do it for this video too. I would appreciate that. We can, boom. Someday we'll get 50 likes. But if you could do that, and if you want to learn more about central bank digital currencies, I think he does a good little short explainer as to what those are. So I would take it as a personal favor if you watched and liked that video. But anyway, thank you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will be back tomorrow with more stories. And I'm going to check out and see what's going on in the Discord. But until then, y'all have a beautiful day. Peace.